The world's best anglers fish for real money in the 2004 FLW Championship on Alabama's Lake Logan Martin. Total purse, $1.5 million. First prize, $500,000. That's what you call big-time fishing. How they do it next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more, and he does. We have a champion.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Taylor Carr, and today we're joining you from the FLW Tour Championship.
We come to you from Lake Logan Martin in Alabama, about 30 miles east of Birmingham. Anglers know this lake well. There have been 3 world championships here, and the fishing here is outstanding. It's considered one of the best bass fisheries in the U.S.
And we've got the best anglers in the U.S. at this tournament as well. The top 48 pros from the 2004 season qualified to get here, headlined by our Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year, Shinichi Fukai. This is his rookie season. He comes to his first championship ranked #1.
Later in the show, Hank Parker will talk with 3 pros who compete in this event. Here's Hank with a preview.
Hey, thanks, guys. Boy, I tell you, we've got a great lineup today. We've got pedigree pro Greg Pugh, who is kind of a local favorite, spent a lot of time on Logan Martin, and he's a deep water guy. He's really looking at the humps and the ledges, and he's going to try to catch these fish out in the deeper water. To complete contrast to that, we've got BF Goodrich pro David Walker, who hadn't really spent hardly any time on Logan Martin, but he feels his strength is fishing shallow. So he's already made the commitment, Hank, I'm going to be fishing shallow, you can count on it. And then we've got the most analytical guy on the whole pro circuit in Fuji Pro, Randy Blockett. Randy hadn't fully committed to shallow water, but I think that's the way he's leaning. It's a great lineup. It's going to be interesting to watch these guys throughout the Tour Championship.
Now, of course, Hank cuts up with those guys, but they catch some fish and really show us something about Lake Logan Martin.
All right, well, let's show you something a little bit about this head-to-head format in the FLW Tour Championship. Match-up style until the final day. Here's a closer look. The most exciting event in professional fishing is back and better than ever. The $1.5 million 2004 FLW Tour Championship will feature the best anglers of the year angling for the payday of a lifetime, $500,000. It's a life-changing event in a thrilling head-to-head format that's a first in this sport. It's angler against angler for the best prize in the sport. The top seed will face the 48th seed in the first round, and the second seed will meet number 47, and so on through the bracket. Winners in the first round will advance to the semifinals for more head-to-head action. Then on the final day, the final 12 anglers will all fish for the big money, $500,000. Here's a look at some of the fun matchups. How about Greg Hackney, who is having the season of a lifetime, against Todd Airy, the local angler with the opportunity of a lifetime. Other fun matchups include 2 Tennessee anglers, BF Goodrich pro David Walker against Fuji pro Wesley Strader, and 2 Florida pros. There's hotshot rookie Glenn Brown against Okeechobee's Kobe Krieger. As you can tell, it's a big event for the anglers and also a big event for the fans. Mark the dates on your calendar. The FLW Tour Championship, August 11th through the 14th in Birmingham, Alabama. You'll see history when one angler walks away with the title and a $500,000 payday. Coming up on FLW Outdoors, we're going to give you a sneak peek of the brand new Ranger Z Comanche.
And you get the lowdown on Logan Martin from local pro Matt Heron, who catches a nice Coosa River spotted bass. You won't want to miss it. Coming up on FLW Outdoors. Here's this week's Field and Stream Trivia. Who was the winner of the first FLW Tour Championship in 1996? Was it Mike Sermon, David Fritz, Steve Daniel, or Davey Height? The answer coming up on FLW Outdoors. The Field and Stream Trivia answer is C. Team EVINRUDE pro Steve Daniel won $18,500 on Lake Sinclair to become the first FLW Tour champion in 1996. From the air, Lake Logan Martin, site of the 2004 FLW Championship, and somewhere in this 48-mile impoundment, bass worth $500,000 to some FLW pro. Now, Logan Martin is a big-time fishery. It's rich in fishing history, and it has lots of variety, lots of deep water structure, and plenty of shallow water to fish too. Plus, Logan Martin has tons of fish. Logan Martin is really two lakes in one, starting at the north end at the Neely Henry Dam. This part of the lake is really simply the Coosa River itself. Now, the dam plays a key role in how the lake fishes because the water it generates determines lake level and current. The second part of Logan Martin starts at about the I-20 bridge where the Coosa River spreads out. The lower portion has more open water with points and shallow flats and deeper structure. Logan Martin can be a very good structure lake. Again, current plays a role with more water flow concentrating the fish on that structure. Boat docks also figure to be a key for some pros. Logan Martin has more than 1,000 and they're mostly on the lower end. So you see what we mean by variety. Well, let's get a pro's perspective on how Logan Martin's going to fish for the FLW Championship. And we get it from Matt Herron of Trussville, Alabama. Matt has fished 2 years on tour, and already he's finished 11th and 9th in the season standings. Matt's on the lake now in the Walmart boat. And Matt, I'm guessing you're pretty pumped about fishing on a body of water that you know so well.
Yeah, I truly am. Who would ever thought that the championship would come home to Logan Martin, where I'd get an opportunity to be home and compete in front of family and friends and get to fish a lake that I know so well.
Matt, you're competing against 47 of the best pro fishermen in the world. What is one bait or one pattern you would not want to do without this week?
It undoubtedly have to be the same technique I've relied on my whole life. It'd be a flipping stick and docks or brush or any type of flipping water.
Well, let's learn some of the secrets of Logan Martin from Trussville, Alabama's Matt Herron.
This would be a prime example of a dock that the pros will be fishing here at Logan Martin. The shallow wood structure and the key places on it's going to be anywhere that there's shade or brush available to these fish. It's just a little handmade jig that I make myself. It's a little 1/2 ounce that I make at home. Just a little black and brown with a green pumpkin trailer. Color doesn't seem to be as big an issue as the location of the fish. Most of the time on a structure lake, the fish really seem to tend to hold really tight to the bottom and to the brush and to the rocks and the natural cover that's available. But in August on the Coosa River, there's such a tremendous threadfin population that when there's no generation or no current, these big spots and big largemouth in this lake area tend to come up and roam and chase bait. Good Lord, look at them, the schooling bass. They're on the back side of this road bed. That's a big spot right there, you see? These, in the summertime, when they're generating no current, these fish, they come up on top of this structure and they suspend. That's a pretty good fish. This is what you call a Magnum Coosa River spotted bass. They're found nowhere else in the country, this particular breed of fish. They're an incredible species of the bass family. And this particular type species of fish is going to be a key ingredient in the FLW Championship at Logan Martin. And finally, watch out for the jig head worm. There are so many ways to fish this bait on the Coosa River, it's unbelievable. It'll be fished deep on structure, shallow on docks, shallow on rocks. It can be fished in so many wide variety of shapes, forms, and fashions. And it's a consistent fish catching bait. Y'all excuse me for just a minute. That's just a little 12-inch Coosa River spotted bass, but he bit the shaky head. This thing is going to be lethal in this tournament.
Matt, that's some really good insight into this fishery, but we have not talked about this weather. It is August. You and I are both soaked through. A heat could really be a factor.
Heat's going to be a big factor. The guys that can block the heat out and fight through it and focus on their fishing are going to do well. The guys that can't aren't.
Your first round opponent is Jacob Peraznik. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Matt Herron, Trussville, Alabama. Now more on that weather in our banana boat outdoor conditions. The first 2 days partly cloudy with lows in the 60s and highs in the 80s, a UV index of 5. Then for Friday and Saturday, cooling off with lows down to the upper 50s and highs in the low 80s. Look for 4 for a UV index. So it looks like along with catching fish, stamina in this heat will be a factor on Logan Martin. Let's get more on the competition now. Hank Parker standing by with one of our pros.
Hey, thanks, Taylor. I'm joining Greg Pugh out here on the water, fishing some deep water structure. Now, Greg, you're one of the few local guys. You got a lot of knowledge. You know every hump and hill in this whole lake. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, what's going through your head, how you're setting your strategy, and what we're doing fishing out here in the middle of the lake.
We're out here fishing a ledge right now. It's an old dam is what it is, where it comes off and drops off out here in the channel. It's got rocks and stumps on it. The spotted bass down here on this Coosa River chain, they love this type of structure. It's all about timing on these humps. You know, it's
timing because the shad don't always stay on the bottom.
That's right.
They just go there on certain occasions, but you don't know exactly why the fish end up going, the shad end up going. You know what makes the fish hit, but
right.
You don't know what makes the shad go deep.
Right. But these Coosa River spots, they're a little bit different. When they make their mind up to get it, they'll get it.
I'm trying to persuade one to make his mind up.
The main things that it seems like I'm going to be fishing with right now is the Carolina rig, the lead head that you're talking about, the big Sudeth S1 crankbait, which will dive down there in that 17, 18
So you
foot.
are throwing a big crankbait
Yes,
in the mix, okay?
I'm throwing it in a mix, and also I'm throwing a jig. So, you know, I'm to the point to where if it's meant for me to do it, I'll do it. And
Look at this. Look at this big Coosa River. Spotted bass, get in here!
You ain't gonna call that that's a speck. That's not a spot.
Oh, really?
He's got to get up to 2 pounds for you, and that's.
Hey, let me just tell you, can I say something to you?
That's your last worm.
You see that right there? It takes so much more talent to catch a fish this size, in the wind, in the current, to detect a bite, to know that you've actually had that strike. Did you see?
I saw that, but
that
now,
impress you?
What are you gonna use for bait?
Well, I've got a little piece of meat on there, see that? Let me get serious for a minute. You're paired up with Dave Lefebvre.
Yes, sir.
He has never, ever seen Logan Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you feel a little more confident? Or?
Well, I don't know about making me feel a little more confident, but Dave Lefebvre, he's a great fisherman, and he's one of those guys that we was talking about earlier that can pull up, put the trolling motor down, and catch these fish off the docks with a jig. So.
Is it true that in the Birmingham paper you took out an ad that said, "Follow me, I can show you all the tricks, Dave Lefebvre"?
You know, that's a good idea, and that may be something I have to do. That is a real good idea.
All boats welcome, follow me, I am the man.
That's it.
Greg Pugh, I'll tell you what, some great information. I really appreciate you. Got a lot of pressure on you, but some way I think you can handle it.
I'm gonna try to, and I sure appreciate you having me on, Mr. Parker, and it's been an honor.
A lot of fun. I'll tell you, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more FLW Outdoors, and we're going to be joined by BF Goodrich Pro David Walker coming up right after this.
FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always. By Snickers. Going fishing? Grab a Snickers. By Yamaha Outboards. And by Ozark Trail.
Lowry's look back.
David Dudley's going to go to his live well and bring out his fish. Here we go. David Dudley bringing up his 5th and final fish, trailing by 2.6, which is our magic number.
2 pounds, 6 ounces. We put our Castro Pro David Dudley into the lead. It's going to be close.
It's going to be within ounces.
He says it's going to be within ounces. Let's watch it close. This fish weighs in at 2 pounds, 9 ounces, 2.9, a new leader.
All right. David, stay with us right here. David is now our leader. He leads by 4 ounces, folks. 4 ounces separates David Dudley from Harmon Davis, and we have a champion. David David Dudley, your 2003 FLW Tour champion. Here is your check, $500,000 richer.
You've already met two of the local pros in the FLW Championship, Greg Pugh and Matt Herron.
There's also Birmingham native Todd Airy, a Team Tyson pro who wanted more than anything to make this championship so he could fish on his home water.
He did make it, but just barely though, at 47th place. So that means he's matched up against probably the hottest non-Japanese angler in the world, Yamaha pro Greg Hackney.
Now the Hackney-Airy matchup is real interesting because back in March, Hackney made the finals at the Old Hickory event with a huge sack the second day. Now Todd Airy missed the cut, so he and his friend Jason Kilpatrick watched Greg fish that final day.
And what you're about to see are the candid observations of Todd Airy and Jason Kilpatrick as they watch pro Greg Hackney fish on Old Hickory.
We don't come out today to find out where someone's fishing, but there's things that you overlook during practice. There's patterns. Hackney's a veteran now, and Todd and I are out here in our second season, and there's still a lot to be learned from these guys. And coming out today, he'll show us a couple of things, and some of the other guys will show us a few things that, next year on some other body of water somewhere, there'll be another couple of patterns that we have to eliminate or check out during practice. And that's just how you learn.
Man, you imagine yanking a 4, 5, 6 pounder up out of that gator weed. One of the great things about him is he makes it a point to do what he likes to do everywhere he goes.
Well, that's the truth. Smith Lake, deep, clear, rocky impoundment, and he goes and flips up 16, 18 pounds or whatever it was.
Something to be learned there.
He's smooth.
He does his own thing, man. He don't care. That's what it takes out here.
Something to be interesting too is to see how long he spends here without a bite.
You hear things about certain guys' tendencies and the way they fish. You have a tendency to always assume that they're catching them a certain way when they do catch them. And it was kind of a shocker to me to see him doing this. I kind of figured he'd be flipping some thick wood or, casting a jig or something like that.
He's keying on grass, and I think most of the field was keying on rock like Todd and I were. And another thing is, too, even this morning, he's only had one bite. And when you come and watch a great angler like Hackney, who's having a great couple of years, he's showing you right here, even when you're struggling, that he's going super, super slow. And he's not getting shook up at all, and he's taking his time. He's got a lot of confidence, obviously, in this area.
It's an insight to the versatility that he has, especially to come back on the second ever event. I'm not for sure that they really practiced like this that much.
Greg Hackney ended up 4th at Old Hickory, and all 3 of those pros, Hackney, Airy, and Kilpatrick, made the FLW Championship.
Another angler who made the championship is another angler worth watching, BF Goodrich pro David Walker, and he's with Hank Parker right now.
Thanks, Taylor and Carlton. Hey, I'm fishing with BF Goodrich pro David Walker, a great shallow water fisherman and a guy who has not had any practice on Logan Martin, so I'm looking forward to this. How about it, David?
Good. I am too. You know some good spots we can go try.
I'm excited about fishing with you, man. I've heard so much about your mechanics and your ability to fish this shallow water, so I'm anxious to see it.
Well, I'm looking forward to fishing with you. I've heard about you before, Here we go. What we got here? A largemouth.
That is a bass fish.
A largemouth.
So you got the history of the lake here. There's been 3 championship tournaments held on the lake. 2, you figure, have been one deep, 1's been one shallow, so you're saying it can be one either way.
I think it can be one either or. And the amount of cover that there is shallow, surely there's enough fish shallow to be competitive with a guy who's fishing deep, I would think. Now that old grass right there.
Capable of producing a fish even in the hot summertime.
You're absolutely right. When you're fishing shallow and fishing a jig, but there's one thing about it, you got to get that into your, you got to be pretty stubborn, which I think I am, kind of long-headed.
That's what I'm looking for. Now you're going to tell me the deal.
You've got to be stubborn knowing that, okay, I've got 8 hours, I got to catch 5 fish. If I can get 1 bite every hour and a half, then I'm right on key.
To me, I respect that as one of the most difficult ways to fish.
See, and I looked at it as the only way he knows how to fish. He don't know what he's doing. He only does one thing all the time.
Tell me about a good-looking dock.
Age has got a lot to do with docks. The older docks are going to be wood, and wood is good. But that makes a good-looking dock. You see them old ones, like that one up there in front of us. It's got that little grass growing on the sides of it.
That looks pretty sexy there.
That's a good-looking dock right there.
What weight jig do you use? Now we're fishing primarily 1.5 foot to 4 foot of water.
I'll use a 1/2 ounce jig most of the time. That's just the weight that I'm comfortable with. I like the rate of fall. And sometimes you want a faster jig because those fish want the bait going by them real quickly. I'll start with the 1/2 and kind of work from there, see how the fish are acting, and if it seems like I can get away with a heavier one, I'll do it.
David, I tell you what, buddy, everybody's told me how good you are at this game, and I am very much impressed. This is a heck of a deal.
Well, thanks, Hank. Impressing you is only second to winning this tournament.
I appreciate it. Hey, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to be right back, and we're going to look at some new product from EVINRUDE and Ranger coming up next on FLW Outdoors.
Hi, I'm BF Goodrich Pro Chad Grigsby from Colon, Michigan. It's time to play today's trivia game where you can go online and win. BF Goodrich has many firsts since the company was founded, including being the first rubber company in America. What year was the company incorporated? 1876, 1896, 1900, or 1925?
To win, log on to FLWOutdoors.com. The winner is randomly drawn from all correct answers. Winners receive a die-cast replica of an FLW Outdoors sponsor boat, value $185. Welcome back, everyone, as we count down the FLW Championship on Lake Logan Martin in Alabama.
It's always exciting when companies come out with new products. We've got 2 products that are going to change the way you fish. We'll start off with EVINRUDE, a new outboard that we got a sneak peek of at Lake Champlain, the last stop on the FLW Tour. The wide open waters of Lake Champlain provided the final proving area for the soon-to-be-released EVINRUDE E-TECH, a 21st century name for an outboard perfectly suited for today's modern angler.
E-TECH is a new technology that's a result of going to the marketplace and asking the customers that use our product, what do you want out of your outboard motor? What do you want your motor to do? We're here to get the feedback from the pros and say, test drive this motor. Tell us what you think of it. If you wanted to change something right now, what would it be?
On this particular week in New York, the EVINRUDE Pro staff got a chance to approve the E-TECH, running it through a simulated tournament day. Now here are some comments from the guys who make their living on the water, and the first was just how quiet it is.
When we were running wide open, we realized that it's not motor noise that you're hearing, it's the wind. It's the wind around you, and I mean, before you never really paid attention to that. It was the roar of the motor behind you, and now it's just the air. The 3-star deal is pretty amazing, that it meets the same standards as 4-strokes and stuff. And let's face it, around the world, wherever we go, like Lake Champlain here, it's such a pristine place, and it means a lot to people. So it's definitely going to be a home run in the outboard market, that's for sure.
The product is easy to own and easy to operate. It's very clean and very quiet. It has very high levels of durability, quality, and reliability. And it has distinctive BRP styling that looks as great as it works.
This is not the latest evolution of the fixed system. This is brand new technology, from the acoustically designed airbox to injectors which work twice as fast as others. It does all this while earning the 3-star ultra-low emissions rating.
You've been involved in the process for so long, it's like your baby, you know, and you've been there from the conceptual stages, and this is the exciting part. Bringing what we've been working on, what the customers told us they wanted, kind of molding that and shaping it, and now bringing it out here and having the pros tell us what they think. That's exciting.
Look at this. Huh?
That's another cool thing about it. When you turn it on, I mean, it's just immediate. It just kicks
And as
on.
old as I am, I need a quiet motor to have a conversation, you know?
Ranger has always been the benchmark for bass boats on the water, and now that mark is raised even higher still. Here's a first look at the brand new Ranger Z Comanche.
Hi, I'm Hank Parker, and I'm standing here with the president of Ranger Boats, Randy Hopper. And Randy, you guys told me you were going to give me a sneak preview of the Z Comanche, and this thing is absolutely awesome. It has exceeded my expectations.
That's great, Hank, and we do. It's totally redesigned from bow to stern. It's just a tremendous performer, and we're so happy to be here to
walk
share.
me through these features. Wow, man. No knees in the steering wheel. Look at all this room. And the dash, man alive. Awesome.
It really is. We've designed those multifunction instruments. Our goal was to get a real, racy looking instrument, but we wanted elegance. That's what Ranger stands for, and I think we got it. It looks like a face of a watch.
Well, these channels may make it waterproof, but they sure give it a good look as well. Show me how this works.
The lock is outside the lid instead of on the lid. That requires a hole to drill that we don't have to worry about waterproofing. The lock pops up the lid, just raise it up. We put our seal on the top, made the seal 30% higher in an effort to try to waterproof it, and just a slam latch. So, like a car door.
Randy, we push for time. In a word, incredible. I'm so impressed, I can't express it.
Thanks, we appreciate it. We're really excited about what lies ahead for the Z Comanche.
Well, now you've met some of the first fans of those new Ranger boats, and you can expect those Z Comanches to be idling into a dealership near you real soon.
Let's get back to our championship preview now. Last year the event was held on the James River in Richmond. This year, Alabama's Logan Martin. When we come back, a look at the FLW Championship 2003.
Here's this week's Ask a Pro question. Sean Rose of Syracuse, New York asks, what advice do you have for fishing a weightless worm? Well, Sean, we get your answer from one of the masters with the weightless worm, Gary Yamamoto.
Thanks, Sean. This is our Kinami baits, and this is one of my favorite baits to use. It's a weightless worm. I like to rig a Texas rig with a straight hook, and one of the reasons for that is I use a heavy rod myself, or you can use an EWG type hook, which will give you the versatility of using a lighter rod and a lighter line. I guess it's become a popular bait because it's so simple to use. Let the bait work itself. As it's falling, it'll undulate and do its own thing. You don't have to jerk the bait or put the action to the bait. And so just cast it out there, and as it's falling, most of the strikes will occur. But if it doesn't occur at that point, pick it up, move it 2 or 3 feet, and let it back down again.
FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Lay's, bet you can't eat just one. By Lowry's, your secret to great flavor. By Minn Kota, anywhere, anytime. And by U.S. Bank, home of the 5-star service guarantee.
Hi, I'm Rob Kilby, and this week's boat tip is watch your weight. No, I'm not talking about my figure. I'm talking about the weight in your boat, how to balance your boat out so you get the best performance. And you want to keep the heavy items to the rear and the light items to the front. And what I mean by that is taking your life jackets or rain suits, clothes, anything that doesn't weigh much, rods and reels even doesn't weigh a lot, and then put them in the front and get your heavy stuff like worm weights, plastic worms, jigs, spinnerbaits, all the heavy items, and keep those in the rear. And by doing that, it changes the balance of the boat and actually improve the performance of your boat.
Now that we have your weight distributed, you're going to have more performance. Not only speed, but ride.
I'm excited now.
We're fishing for $500,000!
Day 3 of the Big Money FLW Championship. There are 12 head-to-head matchups for spots in the finals. The pairing of Kellogg's Pro Clark Wendlandt and Chevy Pro Kevin Van Dam drew the most attention. Between them, 3 FLW Angler of the Year titles and a boatload of wins in big-time events, plus a ton of competitive spirit.
Kevin's one of the best fishermen in the world, and you know, it's one of those things you kind of got to put out of your mind because you got to catch fish no matter what.
Van Dam was closer to home, fishing the Highway 10 bridge at the mouth of the Appomattox.
We're going to have real strong wind today, so I know the tide's going to come back in real hard. So I would like to, you know, fish the last 2 hours of the outgoing tide and have it fall like it normally does.
YAMAHA Pro Greg Hackney was near Wendlandt in the Chickahominy, and he'd need a good day to beat Tommy Biffle.
I've been catching most of all my fish flipping, but I caught them in practice during this weather, throwing a buzzbait and a spinnerbait, so I'm hoping this morning they'll get back on that deal.
Upriver again, and local favorite John Cruz.
Net. Stay on now. Come on, fish. Get it. Well, there's a start there, folks.
What were you doing there, John?
Talking. I was talking and not moving my bait. Maybe that was the key. There he is.
It was a good day for Cruz. He went on to catch 9-8 and carried the Virginia flag into the finals. Van Dam won 2, catching 6-12 to Wendlandt's 2-3. Hackney had 14 pounds and barely beat Biffle. Joining them in the finals, Alvin Shaw, Larry Nixon, Cody Bird, Harmon Davis, David Dudley, Jimmy Millsaps, Shad Skank, Rob Kilby, and Paul Elias.
Day 4.
The James River saves some of her toughest fishing for the 12 finalists on Championship Day. Anglers such as Larry Nixon, Paul Elias, David Dudley, and Kevin Van Dam know all about winning big events, but could that experience help them through the tough tidal waters on a rainy Day 4? One of the finalists would catch a 5-fish limit. No one could muster a 10-pound stringer. Angler after angler dropped out of the shootout-style weigh-in. When Ranger Pro Rob Kilby bowed out in 3rd place, it left Oklahoman Harmon Davis against Castrol Pro David Dudley. Davis owned the lead when Dudley brought up his 5th and final fish. He bested Harmon's weight by 3 ounces, and the Oklahoma Pro was out of fish. David Dudley, your 2003 FLW Tour champion. Here is your check. $500,000 richer. Castrol Pro David Dudley has cashed the 2 largest paychecks in bass fishing history, and this week he's going for number 3.
So how does Dudley approach his next shot at big money? Well, typically, Dudley is open-minded.
I approach every lake the same. You know, I don't have a closed mind, because if you come in with a closed mind to a lake, then you've limited yourself anyway. So I'm gonna have an open mind to shallow water from what I understand. What I see, there's some docks and grass, so of course the consideration of a shallow water bite might be there. And then, you know, typically in the summertime you're here out, it's hot, they're probably out, some out deep. So I'm not focused, dead centered on one particular strong pattern versus the other. I got a open mind on doing things.
Coming up on FLW Outdoors, Hank Parker fishes with Randy Blockett, and they go way back to Randy's early days in pro fishing.
Hey, welcome back, and we're preparing for the Tour Championship on Logan Martin. I'm with Fuji Pro and old pal Randy Blockett. We're sitting here reminiscing about old times.
Hank, very first day of my entire career, we fished together at Lake Ontario, 1985, wasn't it? And here's a picture right here. This is September 1985, and we had just walked off the weigh-in scale, and I think we're both signing autographs. And I'm excited as can be. I'm 22 years old, and Hank Parker is my first draw ever in my career, and great way to start out a career.
That's pretty neat. I tell you, Randy, I noticed the very first day that I fished with you, you were very, very articulate. You were very, very focused and paid attention to every little minute detail. And of course, you've become famous for that now. You're the most analytical guy, or at least one of them, on the tournament circuit, and you're really involved in every aspect of fishing. You've maintained that for 20 years, 19 years. How have you done that?
Well, ever since I started out, ever since I can remember really, I'm 6, 7 years old, you know, I've loved to fish, and I really started getting interested in tournament fishing when I was in grade school, reading a lot of the magazines. That was back when tournament fishing was sort of in its infancy. And there's something about it that really appealed to me. And as I got older, I got more interested, more involved with it, and became a real student of the sport, a real student of not necessarily bass fishing, but tournament style bass fishing, which there's a big difference between the tournament mindset and just the recreational mindset. And the tournament competition really appealed to me, a lot of different reasons. And I've really tried to grow as an angler. I've really tried to grow every aspect that has anything to do with bass fishing.
A lot of the guys there. Got him?
That fish was sort of suspended. Not a keeper, but a largemouth. I mean, that was one thing that was really neat. You know, I had a chance to fish with, you know, yourself and several of the real top pros early in my career. And I really got to see how you ran your water and how you let your day unfold and how, you know, how you'd maximize the water.
When you come here for the Tour Championship, a big deal, you know, a tournament that everybody that's ever fished in their life competitively would love to win. Not to mention the $500,000, which would be an awesome payday for anybody. Sure. Are you going to totally commit to shallow water? You're not even going to consider going out on the hump, the ledges. You're not going to do that. You know when you come here, I'm going to stay with it and I'm going to find those little salties that work.
Well, that is my plan at this point. Obviously, I don't like to get locked into something 100% completely, but going into this practice period, I mean, my game plan is to focus on shallow water 100%. Now, a lot of that has to do with getting hit by those right type of fish that really give you the confidence to stay that way. Man, that's pulling.
What have I got a hold of here?
That fish is making some turns like, oh, that's a good one, Hank, jeez.
Big bass fish.
That's a nice one, man.
Spotted bass.
Spotted bass. Now see, I think that the tournament can be won almost with just that grade of fish, you know, for you know, a 4-day period. This time of year, that's a nice chunk there, look at that.
Spotted bass.
That's about a 2-pound, 12-ounce or 213.
213, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess. A lot of people won't stay with the jig this time of year because you don't get a lot of bites on it. And you sort of have to make a mental commitment to fish for 5 bites a day. And a lot of times when you get out here and it's 100 degrees and you haven't had a bite for 3 hours, it'll be so tempting in this tournament, Hank, for guys to put on 6-pound line, a little 4-inch worm, go around these docks and catch 1.5 spots. A lot of guys are gonna do that here. I mean, you don't get a lot of shots at $500,000 in a tournament, and you better be on your A game. You better be fishing what you feel you can win this tournament doing. And this isn't a tournament to, like, I don't want to say, I think fish conservatively is sort of an overused term, but you've got to fish what you feel that you're best at here. If you're ever going to do it, this is the tournament to do it in.
I tell you, Randy, it's always a pleasure. You're one of the most knowledgeable guys out there, and it's really fun to talk to.
Thanks a lot, Hank. Appreciate it.
It's been a long time. We won't wait that long next time.
20 years is too long, man.
Hey, don't go away. Coming up next, we're going to join Taylor and Carlton, and we're going to make our predictions on what's going to take place, how many pounds it's going to take, and who's going to win it right here on Logan Martin coming up next.
FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Fujifilm. Get the picture. By EVINRUDE Outboards. By Tyson Foods, it's what your family deserves. And by Walmart, always low prices, always. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We're wrapping up our preview of the FLW Championship from Logan Martin. And once again, Hank Parker joins us.
And Hank, you fish with three pros who have different approaches to this lake. What do you take from what they told you?
Well, pedigree pro Greg Pugh, he lives here close by. He's put a lot of time in on the water, and he's really counting on catching his fish deep. On the other hand, David Walker hadn't spent much time here at all, and he's a shallow water fisherman. He's going to fish a foot deep or less. You can count on it. I think David Walker is going to be tough, but he'll fish shallow all week. Then Fuji Pro Randy Blockett has really not made a commitment yet. He's kind of waiting to weigh the practice out to really decide what he's going to do. But I noticed the water's come up about 8 inches from last week, so I'm betting Randy Blockett's going to be fishing shallow as well.
Well, if shallow is better this week, can a guy mix up both and catch some fish shallow and some deep?
You know, that's a great question. And Logan Martin's got a couple different personalities, and it's definitely capable to be one either way. It can be one shallow, it can be one deep. Big spotted bass can win this event. They're going to be caught, I feel like they're going to be caught deep, 10 foot or deeper. Big largemouth, they're going to be up real shallow. So it could be a tournament where a guy mixes the bag. He catches a few big largemouth shallow and goes out and tries to catch a spotted bass deep.
Hank, the first two rounds are head-to-head competition. Is that a different approach for the anglers?
Well, I think this is the third year these guys have had this format, and it's the only event of the year that they fish head-to-head competition in this bracket format. So I don't think that they've had a lot of time to set strategies. It's all pretty new. I think most of the guys that I've talked to, they like this format, but they've really not adapted their fishing style to do anything differently. They're going to fish their strength, and they're going to fish against the fish.
We'll find out how they fish against each other as well. And now it's time for us to make our predictions. Hank, we go to you first. One guy who's going to win it all.
I hope we win one of these games. You know, it's hard to pick a winner, but Aaron Martins is a guy, he's a Ranger Pro. He's a guy that fishes all tournaments all over the country. He's gone about half of the year, but when he's not gone, he's on Logan Martin, and he fishes from daylight to dark. He's obsessed with it. He loves it. He knows Logan Martin inside out. He's a great tournament fisherman. He's won before. I look out for Aaron Martins.
One of the top anglers in the country right now in any given body of water is Greg Hackney, and especially if it's going to be a shallow water bite. Greg loves to fish shallow. He's the kind of guy that can cash that championship check.
Usually local pros disappoint in big-time tournaments, but Matt Herron may be the exception. He knows this lake so well, he may find a way to combine that shallow bite and that deep bite and win on Logan Martin.
Guys, $1.5 million is going to be given out at this championship. Amazing. Head-to-head until the final day when the top 12 go for the big money, $500,000 to our winner. We will crown a champion next week on FLW Outdoors.
We could have one more in. There it does. We have a champion. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Holy cow. Woo.
That's the way to crown a championship right there.
Yes. Oh, come to me. Yeah. Say hello to my little friend. Yeah. Yeah. There you go, Logan. Yes.
I told you that was a big old fish underneath that mat.
Ray Shine, your winner on Lake Okeechobee.
Let's hear it for your champion, Sam Sweat, Louisiana's own. Our champion is Dave Lefebvre. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the 2004 Walmart Open is Tim Klinger out of Boulder City, Nevada. Anthony Gagliardi is the champion here at Kentucky Lake, the 5th stop on the FLW Tour. Scott Martin, your winner of the 2004 Forest Wood Open.
The world's best anglers fish for real money in the 2004 FLW Championship on Alabama's Lake Logan Martin. Total purse, $1.5 million. First prize, $500,000. That's what you call big-time fishing. How they do it next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for, my friend.
The world's best anglers fish for real money in the 2004 FLW Championship on Alabama's Lake Logan Martin. Total purse, $1.5 million. First prize, $500,000. That's what you call big-time fishing. How they do it next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more, and he does. We have a champion.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello everyone and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing along with Taylor Carr, and today we're joining you from the FLW Tour.